Hello and welcome to 3 Minutes. The past several months we've heard a lot about the conflict in Syria. With us today is Kevin Appleby, who's going to tell us about his trip to the Middle East as part of the USCCB delegation concerned about the plight of the Syrian refugees. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about your trip.
Well, we went to countries of the Middle East that are receiving refugees from Syria. Turkey, Lebanon, Jordan are the main ones. To look at the plight of the Syrian refugees. It's an emerging crisis in the Middle East, and it's not going to stop anytime soon as the conflict continues. And we're going to shed some light on that here in the United States, try to educate our decision makers and Catholics themselves about what's going on and how we can help the situation.
But the larger question is, why would the U.S. Catholic bishops be interested in the plight of Syrian refugees?
We're a big church, we're a universal church, and in some ways we're helping to support the local church in responding to this situation. We're also the largest resettler of refugees in the United States, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. A lot of people don't know that. We resettle more refugees than a lot of European countries do. And we do that throughout the country through Catholic Charities. So we have an interest in the plight of the refugee. A lot of Catholics don't realize that Christ himself was a refugee. He crossed into Egypt, fleeing the terror of Herod in the Gospel of Matthew. If he did that today in the Holy Family, they would be refugees.
You came back with many different pictures that were quite dramatic. Wide, dusty plains, tents. Tell us, what's it like to be a refugee?
I've never been a refugee, but I've only met a lot of them, and it's a dire situation. It's just being uprooted from your home at a moment's notice, fleeing literally for your lives, and going to a land you don't know, and you don't know anyone there in a lot of cases, and you have nothing to support yourself. That's really what refugees face, and it's through no fault of their own that they're in this situation. It's because they're in war and conflict, a lot of things that us Americans have never really experienced directly. So a lot of them are traumatized, they're in fear, and they need support, and that's why we try to support them.
Now, if I were a regular parishioner, how could I support them?
I would first say educate yourself on what's going on around the world, but also contact your local Catholic Charities and ask them if they have a resettlement program, likelihood that they do, and that they're reselling refugees from abroad and they need help in integrating into the community. They might need some food, or they might need a sofa, whatever, you know, some clothes. You can contribute and help improve their lives in their new land.
That's wonderful. Anything else that you'd like to share about your experience?
Just that it's part of the mission of the church to do these things. It's part of the power of the church to reach out to those who are in need, because we're always going to be in need at some point in our lives, and we're going to wish someone else was there to help us. So that's part of the mission we have.
All right. Thank you so much, Kevin, for joining us on 3 Minutes and telling us about your experience. And thank you for joining us for 3 Minutes. See you next time.